Shall I go live?
Yep.
All right. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another YouTube live stream. Today, I'm here with Mr. Board and Daria, who is a developer, front-end developer in Crystallize. And she will be joining us today on the new version of the Gatsby Boilerplate that we have released. And we'll discuss a little bit about how you can set it up, basically show you around, connection to the service API that we have been talking to in the past with Håkon and the rest of the team. And of course, here to answer any question you guys have regarding Gatsby or Crystallize in general. So should I say welcome, guys? I don't know, but
thanks, Tadros.
Yeah, welcome.
It's good to have you here, Daria, because I do not know Gatsby at all. So so what I'm browsing around should be our end result today. So we will use the boilerplate that Daria has built, and it's the design from Didrik. And we'll take you from start to deployment, and we will also do a redeployment so that we can kind of show this CI/CD process that you typically want to adopt when you're developing in a headless way. But to start with, I'm not sure, because we have so many front ends today, front-end frameworks. Yeah. You have Next, Gatsby,
all the mobile ones.
Yeah, React Native,
yeah,
etc. But I'm curious, why would you use Gatsby? Do you have one or two reasons as a developer, Daria, that makes sense to use Gatsby?
I think the best part about Gatsby is that it generates static files during build time, so that improves the performance by a lot. And that is the reason we got a 99 performance score in that.
No spoilers.
Right, sorry. Gatsby also has a cool set of plugins. So for stuff like Excel and Contentful and other stuff like that. So that makes it, again, really good to use. And then it's based on React, so that is a plus point.
Yeah, so Gatsby is a React framework, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, what we're going to show today is how you can connect this to Crystallize and launch basically a shop live. And what we have in Crystallize is if you go to our website under Learn, we have a section with open source boilerplates and plugins. But basically what we will look at today, it's the React Gatsby boilerplate, which very recently today got released in an updated version, which is what I'm showing here. So basically to get started with this, you can also see this on, if you go to developers on our website and then click on Gatsby, you have here an npx command that you can use in order to kickstart your project. And that is what I'm going to do. So I'll start with npx Crystallize, and I'll just call my project Gatsby Commerce. And what's going on now is basically that now it's loading the CLI tool. And we will get a menu where we will basically be able to choose between different boilerplates that we have available. So you have the Next.js, which we have done several streams on, and it comes in two flavors. One which is has got the same setup as the store we will launch on Gatsby today, and another which is based on long-form storytelling, so very rich, article pages basically.
Yeah.
But we'll choose Gatsby here. And when you want to connect this to the PIM in Crystallize, to get the product information and marketing content, you need to point it in the right direction. And in the setup, you get two options. You could either choose your own tenant. So you go to Crystallize, sign up, and it's you can create your own free tenant, or you can use our demo furniture tenant. And this is what I'm going to do here, just so I get a lot of demo data.
I mean, it makes sense if you ask me, like in the beginning at least, because essentially this is just an option that just sets some process variables, right? So of course, for the ones that are not aware of, you can of course go change your tenant identifier like anytime after you set it up, right?
And you also get this about the service API, and we'll talk a little bit more about the service API. And perhaps now is a good time, because now it will basically install the code and install the NPM packages. I would assume. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's fetching the entire project basically.
Yep.
Initializing it.
And what we can talk about while that is downloading is basically, when you're building headless e-commerce solutions, the approach is typically that you want to build a best-of-breed stack of services, where you have Crystallize, for example, as we will use today, with product information and marketing content, and also the order intake. But authentication, you would use Auth0, Stripe for payment, etc., etc. So you put together the stack that makes sense for you, and basically to glue this together with multiple web shops, or you can have a web shop and a web app, for example. You typically want to have a common area or a common API, which basically handles things like callbacks from Stripe to collect payments, to send out emails, to manage authentication, etc. And this is actually the setup we have today, because we now use the service API, which is being used by also other boilerplates in our demo environments. So we will actually just add a new head here, where we will connect to when we chose tenant. This is call it the database in Crystallize, or where you have the content repository for your products and marketing content, and the service API. Those were the two variables we configured, and now we'll add the front end basically, and we will use Gatsby for this. And that's what was going on in the background here. So the CLI tool will give you information. So we chose Gatsby. I should go to the folder Gatsby Commerce, using the furniture tenant in a single language, and this is the demo service API. Let me know if the fonts are too small on my screen. But basically, what I can do is enter the Gatsby Commerce folder. I am the only one in Crystallize that uses Atom, and I'm proud of it. So what I can do here is basically, and it says here, go to the folder and start yarn dev, and this will basically create a local development environment for this front end. And it's kind of similar to other React frameworks, I guess. I'm not sure exactly how this would differ from like an Next.js or other frameworks, but I'm not sure, Daria, if you have some comments on the runtime that I'm starting now, because I really don't know how these things work now, but I'm going to do some modifications, etc. But now I'm starting, and what's going on when I'm doing a yarn dev, basically?
Yeah, so it's generating static files for all the files you have. So it takes a bit more time than it would with frameworks like Next.js, but once it's done, it's way much more faster.
And it's also really fast when you develop, right? So it's one of the benefits, like on development locally at least, you experience way faster responses or loading times, let's say.
So basically now, yes, I can. So I have now a local version actually of this storefront. It was kind of quick.
Yeah, it didn't take that long, to be honest.
I ran 2 commands, and I have exactly, it looks the same as the Next.js one, but it's of course a different framework as an example of how you can launch this. Beautiful e-commerce experience here. But okay, I'll do a first pass where, okay, I just want this on the internet, so you guys can also click on it. So
so we will of course, yeah, like Mr. Board said, this is a live deployment, right? So it's it'll be available for you if you want to check it out. But I think it's pretty easy, as you will see, that to set it up and run it on your own, I guess, and launch your own production storefront.
Yeah, so what I did now, I just used, and Vercel is configured on my computer. We have an account. If not, you can go to vercel.com and sign up. They have a free tier that you can use. But I'm just using the Vercel -- prod command because I want to get this directly to production. Typically, you would not add the prod. You would have a CI pipeline, maybe with I don't know, GitHub Actions, for example, so that you get preview branches, and then when you merge to main branch, it will deploy to production. For example, I guess that's best practice, Stavros. I'm not sure. Maybe elaborate on that.
That's usual way to go.
And what's going on now is kind of similar to what I did when I started this up as a local environment. So it sets up from scratch a new, basically a hosting environment. So this is edge hosting. So it's distributed across the world. And it both kind of sets up the code for, what do you call it? Hot reloading. So it actually regenerates pages, etc. Or is that different in Gatsby versus Next.js? I'm not sure actually.
That's a question for you, Daria.
Yeah, because once I push this to production, now it also generates static versions of all the product pages,
for
right?
Sure.
Yeah, it does.
But if you want to do some changes, you have to have a hook to regenerate the catalog, right? Or how does that work?
I'm sorry?
If I do a change in Crystallize, I update the price for a product. With Next.js, it will automatically generate those files. It will basically check if the product has changed, and then it will do an updated, generate that page again. Is that something that happens automatically with Gatsby also, or in production, or do we have to fire off a build command?
I'm actually not sure about that.
So that's something for all of the viewers to actually figure out for themselves. But basically, I know that they have a webhook for build, so you can typically connect the webhooks in Crystallize to automatically do a rebuild when products
or contents, right? Changes, right?
Yeah. But now,
all right,
this is now available, so you can actually go to gatsby.superfastshop. So I'll do that, and that is a production deployment of my web shop. Of course, I'm running the demo service API, and I'm also running the demo tenant. But basically, I have here a pretty nice shopping experience. And as with Next.js, Gatsby is generating static files on the edge. So it's typically really, really fast. And let's check. So here I have page bid with.
So the important pages are, as usual, like product pages, I guess, maybe specific content pages that you want to really target to bring in audience, right? So this is where you would expect what you want to see, this green number, this big green number.
Yeah. So this is checking the core web vitals basically, and we see that here it's. Time to interactive on 0.8 seconds. Yeah, first contentful paint 1 second on the mobile. So you get the 99 out of 100 in score. And this is with the Gatsby framework. So it's actually seems to be faster than what we're getting with Next.js in production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So globally now, I guess.
Yeah. So this is the other side of the benchmarking for page speed is to check the performance from different locations around the world. And with at least if you have a global brand, you want to be fast in every country.
For sure.
And that's really a benefit of this strategy, which is typically referred to as a Jamstack strategy. And we are getting pretty good scores here. And this is, I haven't done anything. I've just installed it and it's in production. So this is my starting point. I get one a little bit low, but that might be that edge location was not populated with the content yet. So first hit might be a little bit slower. But so the page speed scores are actually, to be honest, quite impressive with Gatsby. But right now I haven't done anything. So if I go back to my local environment, let's say I would like to do some changes.
Code-wise, you mean?
Yeah. So I basically here have the project folder. Who can help me?
So I guess it would be really nice. Well, for me at least, what I would like to be doing is to change like the major pages to make like the website the field that I want, to give it the field that I want, which is meaning that you would, I guess, change the front page, like the field of the front page if you want to, and maybe a product page, something like that. The most.
So let's try that. And I'm just now browsing. So there's a folder called components, and I guess these are the reusable components across the site. Maybe you can help me a little bit out there, Daria, on the structure.
Yeah. Okay. So we have shape components, which have reusable components that are being used on product pages and article pages and everywhere. We have the list format that displays products and articles depending on the type. So if it's a document, it gets displayed in list format. Like if you go to a product page and all the products get displayed, so we're using list format for that.
Okay, so this page here is kind of the whole product page for this, all products on this setup. And then each of the components, like for example, I know this is a properties table, right? So this would then be under the shape components, which is reusable parts that actually are shared then across products and documents and folders whenever you're using, for example, properties table, which is this guy here on the left side. So what we can do here is basically change the properties table JS file, which I guess this is style components, which is the same you typically use with Next.js. So and I guess
that's what we use at least for the Next.js boilerplate out of the box. But I would guess that if you go out of the components folder board, it should be like in the under source, apart from components, you should have like a different folder as well. So your top level folder there, components.
So
not this guy, like underneath that you got source and then you got components. Like you should have like page templates perhaps. That's what I saw earlier. So you'd have here, this is where I guess you would change like the feel of the website. So instead of having like components, which is reshareable piece of code, I would expect that you can change like the feel of the page itself will be under these templates there.
Yeah, so page templates. Yeah, you are. If you want to change the front page, you can just go to page templates and front pages at the bottom.
And this is basically the main front page. But I'm on this product page, so I'll go back to let's do simple stuff. The properties table. I just want to change here, and I actually did it. I changed the border here, and maybe I want to make it 2 pixels and not just border bottom, but all around. And basically, I'm saving this file. And did you notice that? That's pretty cool.
That was fast.
I just changed this. And what if I do change the color. So it's or to make it really obvious that I've changed it. Not for the prettier, but I changed it. So this is, I guess, the hot reloading that you have in Gatsby. So the developer experience is quite smooth, even though it takes a little bit to boot it up, even locally. Once it's booted up, it's there's no lag. There's no page reload. I can just work with this page, and I'm not sure what I should do here, but I can do things like same padding all over, so I get a little bit indent, hopefully. Yeah. What else?
So,
this is the CSS basically via style component. So, and right now we're changing just the rendering of the properties table, and of course you can change the both the let's say the output. Let's say if I want this to be in H2 instead because of the structure on my page, I can do that and change it, and then it will fail to compile.
I guess you didn't load it.
And you're not importing H2. That's not a normal HTML heading tag. You need to add a style component for it.
Good point. So I will not do that because this is not HTML. This is the but those of you that know React know how to do this. It's funny. Either we keep the designer Didrik to show code, or I show code. At some point, we should actually show code by people that actually know how to code.
Yeah.
But cool. Anyhow, I changed now the text there, so I added some signs. So, but it's really quick. The developer experience is very smooth there. That's the first thing I noticed. And then the least amount of customization you typically have to do is change the logo, because your brand will not be furniture. So that's should be a simple thing. So maybe you can help me, Daria.
There's an images folder.
Okay, yeah, this guy, and this is under source. So I can take my image here. Okay.
And you can go to the header file, which is in source, and then layout components, and then layout folder. Yeah, this and then header index file, and then you can change the import statement.
So one thing that I noticed here, like while you do that, Mr. Board, is that the code is really clean and really self-explanatory. Like I haven't coded in Gatsby, but I can understand that. All right, to change the product page, I go to the pages folder and then /product, for instance. If I want to change the component of the X name component, I just go do that. It's I just want to say props to Daria for coding that.
Yeah, it's really clean and really semantic. So you don't have to poke around too much here to really understand it. So you have the page templates, which is the article page, the product page, etc., in full view. When you watch the full page, and then you have under the components. There are several things, but layout is kind of header and footer, I guess, things. And then you have the list format, and this is when it's being, for example, I'm assuming like here I have a list format of product. So these plans, right? And I guess there's also rendering for products in a grid, I would assume, because this is a different view. And that's basically what you here you have grid and grid items, yes. And then for the subcomponents that are reused across all of this, you have the shape components, and shapes is the content model or the structure in Crystallize. We call that a shape, and the shape is basically a collection of different components like image, text line, and properties table, etc., etc. So this is I guess just proper organization of code so that we don't have the same code all over, I guess. This is cool. That was really simple. Of course, I didn't do any mind-blowing things. But what I can do now is, because if I go to Gatsby Superfast Shop, which is live, and you can all just go to that now, and we will keep it up. I can just do a redeployment there. So basically pushing this to production again. And again, in the real world, you typically don't deploy on the command line like this. You typically have it integrated with GitHub Actions, I guess is the most popular way of doing it now.
Yeah, if you're using GitHub at least.
Yeah.
That's
I guess everybody's using GitHub and Atom by GitHub, right?
Yeah. Fingers crossed. But yeah, but I think that one thing that it would be really nice to mention for as a reference for the people watching it is that essentially, if I want to, and I know you're doing a redeployment, but changing like the tenant so that they can test on their own environment, and maybe Daria can tell us where would you go to essentially change the service API. Oh, okay.
I figured it out. .env, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So simple enough, yeah. So whether you want to do it in development or production, so if you want to set it up in Vercel as the environment variables for the application, or you want to do it in the M file, it's there.
Yeah.
Essentially, because usually you would use the furniture setup with the service API for furniture tenant that we have publicly set up. But for your own, infrastructure, when you want to have the full application in your hands, you would typically switch to your own service API, right? So you would follow the CLI command, like Mr. Board did in the beginning. Just set up the service API from ground up. There's a link in the description, actually, for reference to the previous live stream that we did on service API, if you want to check it out.
Yeah. And notice also here a redeployment of this, it takes 1 minute. So it's really quick. And then if I reload here, hopefully I have the changes. Yeah. So this is a change of the logo. So I guess that's the scope of this stream, just to show. And you also see the beautiful styling I did here for the properties table is also out. But in essence, it's very quick to get up and running with something in production. And this is Boilerplate. It's a starting point for you to customize both on the content side, on the service API for integrations, etc. And also, if you want to customize, of course, the customer journey, as we did, you go to the source folder and change stuff there.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, cool, awesome. I think that's pretty much it, what we wanted to show today. I'm not sure if there's anything that you want to add, Daria, or
I know I don't.
You got it covered. Awesome.
It's really structured, Daria. I really like the Gatsby one, and page speed actually faster than we typically see with when you're loading Next.js. Surprised by that. And also the hot reloading as a developer experience, that was really, really, really nice.
Yeah. So the only thing is that initial launch, which I guess is pretty much the same if you run Next.js locally, right? So it does take some time to boot up. But yeah, this is really nice.
Really nice. And we could probably also mention that Gatsby version 3 was released yesterday or the day before. So we will also make support for Gatsby 3 in this boilerplate very, very soon. So that is actually supposed to be even faster. So I'm looking forward to be testing it, and maybe we get 100 of them.
That would be nice. That would be really cool. Awesome. All right. So, okay. Thanks everyone for watching. Thank you, Daria, for the awesome code, the boilerplate, and of course the rest of the team that helped setting it up. Thanks, Board, for showing us around. And yeah, for any questions you guys have, depending regarding the boilerplate or pretty much anything else, we're available in, of course, YouTube, but also reach out in the community in Slack. join us there if you haven't. And feel free to shoot out any questions that you have in the platform or pretty much any of the boilerplates. Until the next time, thank you for joining, and see you in the next one.